From hiding alien aircraft to sleeping with the enemy and performing unauthorized experiments on people, here are 12 government cover-ups hidden from the public. Number 12. HAARP. HAARP, or High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, was an ionospheric research facility in Alaska. The ionosphere is a portion of the upper atmosphere. The Air Force, the Navy, the University of Alaska, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency funded the facility. Why were all these people interested in the ionosphere? Because it plays a role in transmitting radio signals. Despite this very reasonable purpose, conspiracy theories have circulated around the facility for years. It is believed to be a center of study to control the weather. It was eventually closed by the Air Force. Many consider it to be one of the most widely contested government cover-ups in history. People have accused HAARP of causing storms, floods, droughts, and earthquakes. In 2010, Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez infamously accused HAARP of being responsible for the Haiti earthquake. Others have called it a secret military weapon, or think that it's been used to trigger major power outages. With the facility now closed, however, it's doubtful that we'll ever learn the truth, if it's really closed. Number 11. The Majestic 12. UFOs, anyone? Under the code name the Majestic 12, a supposed secret committee of 12 scientists, military leaders, and government officials recovered and investigated downed alien aircraft. Rumor is they were part of the Roswell, New Mexico cover-up, and it was initially formed by President Truman in 1947. The existence of the Majestic 12 came to light in the mid-1980s when a ufologist received an envelope containing pictures of 8 pages of documents. The documents appeared to be a briefing describing Operation Majestic 12. The government has repeatedly denied the existence of the Majestic 12. The FBI has also repeatedly debunked the documents, even going as far as to write bogus over the files and show them without redaction on their website. And now for number 10, but first be sure to subscribe and click the bell to join our notification squad. Number 10. The Siege at Waco. For 51 days, federal agents laid siege on the Branch Davidian compound outside Waco, Texas. It ended with the compound going up in flames and with 80 people dead. Founded in 1959, the Branch Davidians were an offshoot of the Davidian Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Branch Davidians lived a simple life while preparing for the imminent second coming of Christ. However, in the mid-1980s, a man named David Koresh took over and turned the group in a different direction. He took several spiritual wives, some as young as 11 years old. Koresh's retail gun business and allegations of child abuse attracted the attention of the authorities. The U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, or ATF, obtained an arrest warrant for Koresh and a search warrant for the compound. When 70 ATF agents raided the complex, gunfire erupted and the standoff began. It didn't end until the fire broke out. 25 children died. The official story was that the Branch Davidians had locked themselves up in a building and had set themselves on fire rather than turn themselves in. The U.S. government denied and tried to cover up responsibility for the fire that destroyed the compound. However, in 1999, it was revealed that tear gas used in the raid was flammable. There continues to be denial that U.S. agents shot at the compound. Number 9. MK-Ultra. When the Cold War was at its peak, the government considered ideas and tactics that would have fit better in a sci-fi novel. One such idea spawned a program known by many names, most popularly MK-Ultra. The purpose of MK-Ultra was for the CIA to test the viability of mind control to create sleeper agents who would then infiltrate Russia, like the Americans, but backwards. This project was also hoping to discover a truth serum that could then be used on spies. Scientists used methamphetamine, barbiturates, LSD, and hypnosis to break down a subject and then rebuild them with very specific qualities. In many cases, this was done without the subject's knowledge or consent. MK-Ultra was undertaken in more than 80 different institutions. One famous project that fell under the purview of MK-Ultra was Operation Midnight Climax, which took place in San Francisco from 1955 to 1965. The CIA ran brothels where clients were slipped LSD in their cocktails and CIA agents watched through two-way mirrors. Eventually, the project was scrapped, but not before CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all Project MK-Ultra documents to be destroyed, making it extremely difficult for researchers to gain a complete understanding of the more than 150 funded research subprojects sponsored by MK-Ultra and related CIA programs. Project MKUltra was first brought to public attention in 1975 by the Church Committee of the U.S. Congress and a Gerald Ford commission to investigate CIA activities within the United States. In 1977, a Freedom of Information Act request uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents relating to Project MKUltra. Number 8. Watergate. Named after the building where much of the scandal took place, Watergate is probably the most well-known U.S. government scandal. President Nixon sent a group of men called the Plumbers to break into the DNC headquarters at the Watergate complex. Their goal was to repair wiretaps placed on phones earlier, as well as steal documents. The 5 men were caught, leading to reporters from the Washington Post to investigate. President Nixon tried to cover up the scandal and actually succeeded until an informant known only as Deep Throat provided information connecting the burglary to the White House. This provoked a series of Senate hearings that culminated in Nixon's resignation in 1974. Number 7. Franklin Child Prostitution Ring. This is one of those things where no one is sure of the truth. From the late 1980s to 1990s, members of the Republican Party, from low-level Nebraska FCU manager Lawrence King to President George H.W. Bush, were accused of being involved in what is now called the Franklin Child Prostitution Ring. Allegedly, Lawrence King transported children of all ages across the country. The children were taken to secret parties to be molested, beaten, and even murdered. However, in 1990, the Omaha grand jury called the whole thing a carefully crafted hoax. The grand jury suggested Michael Casey, a former executive dismissed by a home for troubled boys, fueled the rumors because of personal grudges. An alleged victim, Alicia Owens, was indicted on 8 counts of perjury. Lawrence King, however, did get prison time, 4.5 years for embezzling funds. Conspiracy theories persist, however, and many wonder if the ring had really existed but was covered up by the Bush administration. Number 6. The My Lai Massacre. In 1968, during the Vietnam War, 500 unarmed civilians were massacred in what is now called the My Lai Massacre. A platoon of American soldiers were told the Viet Cong were hiding among the villagers. Officials ordered them to view every person in My Lai as a Viet Cong or a sympathizer. Essentially, they were sent to destroy the village, not to find the real enemy. The soldiers executed hundreds, including women and children, in a ditch. The Viet Cong were not among the dead. The massacre ended when Warrant Officer Hugh Thompson, an Army helicopter pilot, landed his aircraft between the soldiers and surviving villagers. The massacre was initially reported as a routine battle until a letter was sent from Warrant Officer Thompson, and the efforts of an investigative reporter blew the story wide open. Number 5. CIA torture debacle. In 2014, after 5 years of preparation, the government released the Senate report on the CIA detention interrogation program. Despite trying to cover it up, it was finally revealed what a lot of people had long suspected. The CIA tortured people, and they weren't very good at it. Their so-called enhanced interrogation techniques were more brutal and used more widely than the agency led the public, the Congress, and the White House to believe. Many of their techniques were illegal. Detainees were subject to techniques such as sleep deprivation and rectal feeding to the point where many hallucinated, had mental breakdowns, and attempted suicide or self-mutilation. There was also little to no oversight. The techniques also did not produce much in the way of meaningful results. Not sure what they wanted to cover up more, the illegal torture or the fact that it didn't even work. Number 4. Armenian genocide. From 1915 to 1923, the Ottoman Empire committed what is now known as the Armenian Genocide. Survivors of the genocide formed the majority of today's Armenian diaspora communities. The genocide was characterized by massacres, deportations, and forced death marches. The total number of deaths reached 1.5 million. Present-day Turkey continues to deny the Armenian genocide. A few Turkish intellectuals, such as Nobel Prize winner Orhan Pamuk, do speak openly about the need to recognize the atrocities. Several nations, including Russia, Canada, Vatican City, and Poland, also recognize the genocide. However, the United States, while condemning the deaths, has consistently stopped short of using the term genocide and has been very careful with their wording when referring to this event. In April 2017, a Turkish historian discovered a telegram in the Jerusalem archives. According to reports, the telegram is from a high-level Turkish official. It requests details from the field about the deportations and killings of Armenians in the eastern Turkish region of Anatolia, proving that the genocide really did happen, whether governments want to admit it or not. Number 3. Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is a deeply guarded secret and certainly one of the strangest. On the face of it, Bohemian Grove is a campsite in Northern California anyone can visit at any time except in mid-July. In mid-July, the camp hosts a 2-week secret encampment of the world's leaders, although now it's not so secret that it happens, but no one knows what they do there. Theories of what really occurs during these 2 weeks runs from orgies and cannibalism to satanic rituals. At one point, the Franklin child prostitution ring was linked to the Grove. Various people have tried numerous times to discover what really happens at the encampment. One person claimed to have infiltrated the camp a few decades ago, where he saw a bizarre opening ritual where a figure named Care was ceremoniously burned. This ritual was confirmed in 2000 when a filmmaker was able to secretly film the ceremony. Other than that, who knows what really goes on there? Number 2. The Profumo Affair. The Profumo Affair was a massive scandal that rocked Great Britain in the early 1960s. It brought an end to the Conservative Party government of then Prime Minister Harold Macmillan. In 1961, British Secretary of State for War John Profumo began having an affair with a 19-year-old dancer named Christine Keeler. Keeler was also involved with a Russian military attaché named Eugene Ivanov. Profumo lied to Parliament about the affair in March 1963, but the evidence mounted. 10 weeks later, Profumo resigned, admitting to the affair and his lies. Despite charges of attempted espionage, neither British nor American intelligence were able to discover if Ivanov attempted to entrap Profumo or use Keeler as an access agent. Ivanov left Great Britain, and Keeler was convicted of perjury and conspiracy. The man who introduced Profumo to Keeler committed suicide, and Profumo became a philanthropist, because why not? Number 1. The Teapot Dome Scandal. Politics in the 1920s were dirty and corrupt on a staggering level. At the time, the President of the United States was Warren G. Harding, described as charming but stupid. He even admitted privately to his friends that the presidency was beyond his abilities. This is the same president who lost the White House china set in a card game. He also had a very poor choice in friends. Harding's choice for Secretary of the Interior was Albert Fall. Fall, unbeknownst to Harding and the public, allowed oil companies to drill into the Teapot Dome Oil Reserve in Wyoming and the Elk Hills Oil Reserve in California. In exchange, they gave him several $100,000 in bribes. His underhanded scheme was revealed in a 1922 exposé published by the Wall Street Journal. The exposé also detailed how the oil was sold without competitive bidding. Robert La Follette, a senator from Wisconsin, arranged for the Senate Committee on Public Lands to investigate Fall's actions. Albert Fall wasn't the only person in the hot seat. President Harding's Attorney General, Harry Daugherty, had failed to investigate the corruption, and the people started pointing the finger at him. Daugherty asked then FBI Director William J. Burns for help. In a move reminiscent of Watergate, Burns sent one of his agents to ransack La Follette's office. The mission was to find anything that could be used to blackmail the senator. However, this move only served to convince La Follette that he was onto something. The investigation continued and exposed Fall's deals with the oil companies. Albert Fall became the first U.S. cabinet secretary in history to go to prison.
If you like our video, then please like, comment and subscribe. And thanks for watching.